Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship. Up next, Weber-McDowell Jr. and Les Schissler. Should be a good one, so stay tuned. And one of my favorites on the Senior Tour, Ed Bourdet in the top 10. Old boards, he could strike, can't he?
Had one of the best, most solid games ever.
Les Schissler, Mike Durbin's old doubles partner, will start on the left-hand lane.
And they've chosen to let Weber and McDowell have the same finishing position that they've had all along.
Well, it's worked pretty well thus far. Schissler's first shot on lane 15, and when you look at Les Schissler, he is an amazing study, this guy. Never changes expressions. All he does is go up there and hit the pocket.
With a nice, the simplest game possible. Probably the freest swing. Just a little pitter-pat with the fingers out there, but he's been striking with it for 35 years.
Well, why change it if it works? Dick Weber back to work on the championship pair. This might be a little high, and he kicks out the 4-pin as Weber spins and does a 180.
And he says, I didn't win 29 titles without learning how to carry all those hits.
Well, Weber carries everything. Everybody's known it for years.
Right now, he wants his partner to start carrying a little bit, though.
I wonder if they have chatted, Mike. Do you think that they've discussed the left-hand lane?
I don't know. That's a good question, Denny. They may have.
All that experience for Weber. Maybe trying to help his touring partner out. And once again, he goes high on lane 15. Now, I'm not sure if he needs to change balls or change angles or what, Mike, but he struggled on the left-hand lane, basically.
One strike the last game.
And the strike he threw, I think he threw with much more velocity than he has in the other shots. It was much straighter. Didn't hook it as much.
Contemporary player, again, their natural shot is to give it room and hook it. At the 610, has it.
There you see Dick Weber. Now he's got him collared. Here we go. He's talking to him now.
He's saying, hey, you know, that's what they put those boards on the approach for, so you can count them to move left, you know.
Weber-McDowell Jr. Boy, is this a talented player.
The interesting thing about him is no slide at all. Plants the in and twists. Boy, he give that one room. Too much room. There's a definite out-of-bounds area out there with oil right, and if you hit it, it isn't coming back.
It doesn't hit any trees and end up on the green, that's for sure. Palombi, a big, strapping young player. Plenty of power, plenty of potential.
Or rocks either, huh, Denny?
25 years of age. Nice average this week, nearly 220. High game of 289.
Tough spare, 1-2-4. Oops, and he does not convert it. Boy, I'll tell you what, we've seen some errors by both seniors and touring players alike.
Well, the team of Weber and McDowell has been living dangerously here this evening, but they've received a number of nice breaks, starting with the opening game when Dennis Jakes threw the double pinochle in the 10th. All he needed was a mark to win.
Schissler says, what's so difficult about this? I've been here on TV before.
It was so funny because I talked with Les and Ron before the telecast, and they were trying to determine which lane they were going to bowl on. Les said, you pick the lane you can strike on. You're my horse. I'll take either one. Doesn't make any difference to me. All he does is go up and flush the first two shots. Well, we bowled 3 frames, Mike Durbin, and the senior players have all 4 strikes.
That's amazing, isn't it?
No, it's not amazing. Well, what a beautiful shot by West.
Wasn't that pretty? Well, a little bit faster than he actually threw it. Just dead flush, perfect. And the 8-pin wanted to stand. Well, let's see what kind of advice Weber gave his partner McDowell on this left lane.
I think he probably just told him, just relax, Mark. Mark has a tendency to get a little hyper at times.
He says, I've been carrying that hit for 25 years. Try it, partner.
And McDowell utilizes that wall shot as they double in the 3rd and 4th, and they lead now by 22. And it won't be long before the PBA Tour heads right back to Thruway Lanes in Cheektowaga, New York for next week's Greater Buffalo Open. And let's update you on the 87 PBA earnings leaders.
Well, we see the same name on top, although Pete's not adding too many dollars to it. In a bit of a slump there. McCordick at 142, Ballard 124, Walter Ray just a smidge away from another $100,000 a year. Randy Peterson, the sixth guy over 90,000, with Ferraro at 82, Voss at 81. We have a number make 100 this year. Milton at 68. Milton, who has not bowled all summer long.
And back to live action, Weber-McDowell Jr. on the right-hand lane. He desperately needs to help his team. Needs a double.
Better shot. There's the result. That first one, he just got away from him.
Excellent shot there on the right-hand lane. And now the master, Les Schissler. I still will never forget watching when he left the A-10 and Eddie Ressler stepped in and won a title.
That happened in Greensboro, North Carolina. Right through the nose, leaves just a 4-7. Schissler, who probably introduced what was known as the gutter shot. He could play that first board as well or better than anybody. And he did it remarkably well and remarkably consistently. And house to house, he'd go into just every center he could play right off that first board and point it up.
Kind of an amazing happening, too, though, with Les. He was the first player ever to shoot a perfect game in the ABC championships. I think that happened back in like 1963, and it was during the team event, and not easy to do. That was back when 300s were pretty tough to come by. Dick Weber, 12 for 12. There you see it.
Up by 14, try and increase it to 24. Light. Didn't get out of it clean, then. He went over the top a little bit, and the thumb did not clear cleanly and did not get the fingers. The ball slid too far.
What do you think the percentages would be to make this, Mike?
Weber used to make it like a 5-pin. So I'd say the percentages are pretty good, at least 50-50 here.
Well, now that we've put the pressure on him, we'll see what the PBA and ABC Hall of Famer comes up with here. By a whisker, he misses on the right-hand lane, slaps Mark McDowell on the hand and says, all right, young gentleman, get up there and throw a strike.
And just like that, they go from 14 ahead to 2 behind.
The ebb and flow. We've seen some rather drastic changes here in this tournament thus far.
And it would have been even if he'd got 1. See if that comes back to haunt them in the 10th frame.
Well, that's true team competition. When one guy's down, the other guy steps up and fills in.
And right now, though, it appears for both players that they're having trouble relaxing to get that double. They're both relaxed at the first strike, but then when they get that X up there, they're throwing the second one a little bit differently.
Mike, do you try twice as hard when you're bowling with somebody?
Well, I know Weber said that his wife and his son both chewed him out the other day because he was too tense because he was trying to bowl so well for McDowell.
That's something that comes into play. Palombi just rips the finger holes out of a shot on the right-hand lane, leaves the solid 10-pin. First time the PBA ever discovered Green Bay, Wisconsin was back in 1967, and Dave Davis ran away with that event following year.
I bowled in that tournament.
Back in 68, then they came back, and Mike McGrath ended up the champion.
Both left-handers.
How'd you finish in the 67 tournament?
Denny, I don't remember. I know I was here.
I was just going to test your memory a little bit there, and obviously you came up with nothing, Mike.
Yes.
It's all a blur, obviously.
Well, they say the memory's the first thing to go, and I don't remember what's second.
Well, let's see if Les Schissler remembers how to strike on the left-hand lane.
He sure does.
Fan of the audience said, good stroke, Les, when that shot got to the arrows. So obviously the fans are knowledgeable here in Green Bay because it was a perfect strike. And those two gentlemen enjoying the bowling here this evening in Green Bay. To your left, that's Angelo Vasallo, the vice president for the House of Seagrams. And also Jim Barrett, national product manager for Kessler Whiskey. Those two gentlemen love their bowling, and boy, they've been treated here this evening.
Yeah, right now, Weber would like to be treated to a double.
Well, the team of McDowell and Weber has averaged a scant 204, but they've kept themselves alive here with 2 tough victories. They're back in a dogfight here in Game 3.
See if Weber can throw it a little bit better in this shot. Sure did.
Oh, and he turned around 360 that time for Dick Weber, who is really starting to get pumped up, and he's clapping his partner on.
I mean, watch him. As soon as he lets it go, he is running right backwards. Look at the ball rolling into the pocket. The difference between that shot, see the thumb was out and the fingers lifted, and the classic Weber run out.
He's going to need a chiropractor if he continues that, huh? Juanita will have to slow him down a little bit. Take it easy, Richard. Relax a little bit. Big shot now for Mark McDowell.
He can really put the pressure on Palombi and Schissler with this one.
Boy, it's almost a throwback to the days of team bowling. Weber was up that time swinging his towel around trying to coax that 10-pin down to the pit.
And he fanned that one just a little bit. What I mean by that is he just didn't quite get to the side of the ball as much as he wanted to and didn't have quite the finger lift that he wanted. And the result was that soft 10-pin. No mistakes. Got to make this. Maintain an 8-pin lead.
All right, ready.
And you hear Dick Weber, all right, knock down that 10. Ron Palombi with his first victory in Tucson a few years back. That was a memorable experience.
Oh, bowling Mark Fay, who needed only 6 on his fill ball to assure a tie, and he got 5, and Palombi proceeded to drill 3 strikes to win by a pin.
And he can strike under pressure.
He needs one right now to take a 2-pin lead. Oh!
Well, that was Flush City there. Those 10 pins disappeared in a big hurry.
And you notice the difference in the applause when the Palombi-Schissler team strikes in polite, courteous applause, and when it's McDowell and Weber, the roof comes off.
Talk about direct contrast. Les Schissler's ball hooks about 3 boards, and Palombi covers the whole lane.
Big shot here. Right there. Oh! That's my partner.
Yeah, and you wish you still had him right now, too, don't you? Yeah, you probably used to ride him constantly, didn't you?
Oh, I had my spurs dug in deep. I'll tell you what, Weber and McDowell got to get together right now. They're down by 12 pins. Their potential, 223. Got to take them one at a time. Four pin, no, it's set.
Boy, Weber really gritting his teeth on that shot. Great effort that time by the Hall of Famer Dick Weber.
Well, the strategy comes into play. Everybody's picked to have that turning player finish the match, and Weber's got his wish now. The pressure's off of him, and it's on to his partner, McDowell, who needs now to strike to cut it to 2.
Okay, there you see the scoreboard, 223, the possibility for McDowell and Weber. Still gives Palombi and Schissler an opportunity to take it off the sheet and win, though.
Big frame back in the 5th when Weber got 8 out on that 5-7.
Gave it room.
Oh, he flipped the 4-pin again.
Oh, and Weber was on his knees that time, coaxing that 4-pin to drop.
And remember the trip 4-pin in the first match. If he doesn't strike out in that first match, we might be looking at Dzina and Jake's bowling right now.
Well, McDowell and Weber just trying to hang on for dear life here in game number 3 of the $140,000 Kessler Senior Touring Pro Doubles Championship.
I'll tell you what, a tie is still a distinct possibility.
Oh,
I'll explain that in just a minute if he gets this next strike.
Well, it'd still be a 2-frame roll-off, is that correct?
Right.
Okay. Well, the stubborn 7 finally dropped, and there you see the applause from the great one, Dick Weber, as Mark McDowell and Weber have really reached deep down inside to come up with some big shots here at the end of this game.
Now, if he strikes here, he can wind up with 223. If Palombi would get up then and fill 18 pins in the 10th frame, they'd have 223 for a tie. If he strikes now, the team of Weber-McDowell is going to have 9 strikes, and they could lose.
Boy, you know, a big 5-7 lead for Weber in the 5th, looming bigger and bigger. But it's up to McDowell to finish things off here.
High. tie. Well, I don't think we're going to have a tie. It's going to be a matter of whether Palombi can strike right here.
Well, a gutsy performance, though, for Weber and McDowell as they pull out all the stops and shoot 220. They came out of nowhere.
Struck when they needed to with a variety of hits. A little bit high, a little bit light, but they both struck.
Ron Palombi patting a little rosin on that thumb hole to make sure he gets a good feel.
And remember, this young man has not won in several years, so this is just such an important strike to him.
Last 2 shots he's thrown on 16 have been superb.
Right there. And the 7-10, boy, the Weber magic is still working.
Holy cow, can you believe that? Just a beautiful shot by Palombi, and out of nowhere, the 7-10 stands. So Dick Weber and Mark McDowell continuing up the ladder, and boy, they've received more than their share of fair breaks.
7-10 on a pocket hit.
Well, Jakes leaves the double pinochle in the 10th frame, and Palombi and Schissler bowl a very nice game and come up empty-handed.
He needed to strike. He got a double tap. We're going to see it right here. No slide. Ball behind the hip. Watch it come in light. Well, we don't see it. We see his reaction to it.
Well, that pretty much says it all. So Palombi and Schissler will bow out in 3rd place and split $10,000. A disappointing loss for that team. But the team of Mark McDowell and Dick Weber, they'll get a chance to bowl for the title. And I think Weber is ready.